Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 377. Andrew here. Hey, have you ever been playing a video game and you're enjoying it just fine, but at some point you're just kind of done and the game won't end? That happens to me on occasion. Let's see if I can think of some examples. Uncharted 2, I thought was, I actually played even though I thought the first one was kind of bad. I was like, wow, surprised it got a sequel, but Uncharted 2 is good. But then I just was like kind of done with it. It's like 2 hours longer than I felt it should be. Like in the very end, I'm like, just end and done. The new God of War, not Ragnarok, the one before that. I actually enjoyed the game for the most part, but at some point, really the point where we got to the mountain where we were dumping the missus's ashes, we got there, and the game's like, oh, we ain't close to done. I'm like, I am. And my headcanon is Kratos and boy. They dumped the ashes and then they went home. So that's my God of War story. Banjo-Tooie goes on forever. Persona 5, unfortunately, I was ready for that one to end in like the game when the game hits like October. You thought I was part Vulcan. I hide my emotions well. I actually do play it up a little bit when I'm on camera, because otherwise my delivery is very flat and uninteresting to listen to. Which is why I gesticulate and alter my tone of voice and use facial expressions. Which is not to say occasionally when something just strikes me as hilarious and I get stuck in a giggle fit, as has happened on various streams, that is actually genuine. I'm not actually playing that up. So I'm playing The Legend of Nayuta, Boundless Trails, which is the Trails spinoff. And Trails, I had mentioned in my recent Trails video that once I get through Cold Steel, I think I'll likely say, okay, the Trails series is among my favorite franchises of all time. So I'm still playing through Boundless Trails, and it's very different, but has nothing to do with anything in the Trails games we've played so far. Other than Mishi is alive and is wandering around. That seems to be the only... And Nayuta's family name is Herschel, and Toa's name is Herschel. Is there a link there? Maybe, who knows? I don't know. But anyway, it's an interesting game. It's a game that's completely fine. It's like charming. It is thoroughly okay. But it just won't end. It's one chapter too long. And I think the problem I had with it is, it turns out that, spoilers for Legend of Nayuta, by the way. It turns out that your childhood friend, who just appeared out of nowhere 5 years ago, and your new lady friend, who just appeared out of nowhere at the beginning of the game, are actually aliens from the moon. Oh, okay. So what's the big conflict? Oh, they're gonna genocide everything. And it's like, oh, well, that's not cool. I don't think we can be friends anymore. Because you see, long time ago, a bunch of people who are no longer alive did some bad things to the place where they don't even live. Like, they don't live on this planet. But they came down and they said, hey, here's some technology gifts. They pulled an Eidos and they gave us some stuff that really shouldn't have, and we misused it, and we blew a hole in the planet, and they're like, well, that sucks. So, then they got all depressed, and then they took a nap for a millennia, and now there's only 3 of them. And they woke up and they're like, we're going to have to heal the planet But in order to do that, we have to wipe every living thing off the surface of it. So not just you, Nayuta, and your sister, Eartha, and your friend Lyra or something, and all the people in Remnant Isle that these folks have been living with and come to know. But, like, all the squirrels and the fish and the birds, they got to go too. And they're like, you were bad to the planet, so we're going to... You know, you realize the planet is just a rock, right? What's kind of important is the things living on it. And if you erase the things living on it, it's just a rock. It's a nice rock. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'm not inclined to forgive these two. But Nayuta is one of those RPG anime heroes who's like, all I have to do is convince you with the power and will of my friendship to make you see the light. I'm like, nah. Genocide's a bit too far. You know, genocide on organisms that weren't even around when other organisms caused a problem in a place that, again, you don't live. So, I was getting kind of annoyed with the story, and I am being a bit flippant and a bit I'm eliding some detail here. So, Nayuta punches his friends in the pulls a Kiryu and punches them in the face until they see the error of their ways. And they're like, wow, yeah, it would kind of suck just to erase all life from the planet that we don't live on. Who would we talk to? Each other? There's only 3 of us now. Huh, we didn't really think this through. Maybe we should just, like, not give them technology and weapons that they can use to blow a hole in the planet. Maybe we just don't do that, and it'll be fine. So the game ends on kind of a bittersweet note, where our adoptive brother and our adoptive lady friend, they stay on the moon, but it's drifting out of orbit, and we may never see them again. I'm like, bon voyage. And the credits roll. I'm like, you know, kind of a melancholy ending. I respect that. But the game's not over, because I guess the moon just circled around the sun and they're coming back now. Which means that the game requires me to play every single level again, just in a different season. Which does change the level a bit. If you remember, speaking of Banjo-Tooie, if you remember, what was it, Tick-Tock Woods, Click-Clock Woods, something like that, there's a level in there that takes place in there's a giant damn tree, and you can go in there in the 4 different seasons, and the different seasons alter the level. Not just aesthetically, but the paths you can take. For instance, in the summer, the lake is dried up and you can explore the bed of the lake. In the winter, it's frozen and you can walk across it. Some paths are open, some paths are closed. That's how it works. Same thing in Nayuta. You have to change the seasons and you have to play through all the levels again. And I really just don't want to. Because Signa and Krehak and our friends can just piss off to the stars for all I care. Genocidal little shits. I was just... Maybe I was just in the mood, but when the climactic scenes were going, I just wasn't having it. I was like, oh, F you genocidal snot-nosed putz monkeys. But yeah, I'm at the... Nayuta's not a bad game, but oh my god, I do not want to play it anymore. I'm going to force myself to play something I just kind of don't want to anymore, which is silly, but, I mean, I'm almost done. Pretty sure. I looked at a guide and made sure there's no more after this. As soon as I get through this, it's fine. Really, it's kind of a new game plus mode with, like, remixed stages with harder enemies and harder bosses. it's kind of doing that, only it's tacking it on as the epilogue instead of a New Game Plus kind of a thing. Again, it's not bad, but it's like, just end. I'm done. Just end. So there's the Legend of Nayuta. Hello, Chaos. Can't they get Captain Planet to heal the planet? I'm sure he doesn't have to wipe it clean first. Yeah. Like, Captain Planet is, boy, that would be an odd mix. Captain Planet is a genocidal maniac. We must wipe the human scourge off the face of the earth so it stops polluting. It's like you realize Mother Nature is an anthropomorphism. We're just giving human traits to a thing, right? It's like Father Time. Those aren't real conscious entities. You don't need to protect them. You need to protect Mother Nature because that's where we live. You know? We just need the Dragon Balls. Yeah, kind of like the ending of Mass Effect 3 and the Star Child. The only thing I know about Mass Effect 3 is it came down to a pick the colored door you want, and that'll give you the same ending, just with a different colored filter on it, which, that's unfortunate. Yeah. I do like the ultimate reveal of the game, and it just feels like this would be kind of a, you know, they were strung along by the true big bad who wasn't giving them the whole picture, or lied to them, but once they lived among the people, then they're like, oh, hey, these folks are cool. Maybe some of their ancestors were more warmongering nitwits, but, you know, we can't just wipe all these people off the earth, and all the fish and squirrels and birds and stuff. That's uncool. Right? But no, they're right up to... You're going to have to repeatedly punch me in the face to keep me from genociding you. It's like, well, Jesus, see if I send you a Christmas card this year. I invited you into my home. You ate at my table. I didn't cook or even help with the dishes, but, you know, I was there. And now you're going to genocide the entire planet? Uncool, man. Uncool. So that's The Legend of Nayuta, which I still have, I think, 6 levels to go, 6 levels and 2 bosses to go through before there's probably one big bad, and then, you know, the true ending cutscene where our genocidal friends come back and we hug and make up, and they learn the error of their ways through the power of my fists. I guess. Again, I'm pooping on the game. It's not a bad game. It's a thoroughly fine game. It's completely okay. Alright, but let's spin off from Nayuta, like Nayuta spun off from Trails, and talk about Cold Steel. Because I want to try to predict what the hell Sara and Fie's deal is. So if you've not been following along, Sara is our teacher at school, and Fie is one of the kids in our class. So I noted pretty early on that there's something up with these two. They know each other. They've got a past, which our teacher invites the class into an old, abandoned, spooky schoolhouse, and then drops us through a trapdoor into a dungeon, and says, like, try to survive, and maybe I'll give you a kiss, tee-hee, right? You know, it's a good character building moment for the kids. Well, Fie's not having any of that crap. She reacts quickly enough to use her grapple hook, which she has, to latch onto a ceiling rafter and hang above the open trapdoor. And Sara says, Fie, come on, Fie, get in the hole, Fie. You know, and then she chucks a knife at the cord that she's hanging from, and drops her ass into the pit. Okay, well, there's something more than meets the eye. The teacher's obviously a very good throw with a knife. Also, in the prologue, we learned that she's a great fighter. She fights with a sword and a gun and has lightning crafts. We didn't get... Fie wasn't in our group in the prologue, so we've actually not got to play her. But we did run into her halfway through the dungeon. And she says, "Oh, hey, you're alive. That's cool. You're about halfway done." And then she pieces out of there, but she, like, parkours at, like, flash speed. So she's got, like, insane speed and agility, and at least enough the underground school dungeon by her lonesome, and then come back to check on us, and then leave, and then work her way back out again without an issue. She also mentioned that she's used to situations like this. They're like, "Hey, do you want to team up?" She's like, "Nah, I'm used to stuff like this." So, okay, they both have a background. But where do they come from? Well, it could possibly be that we have, they come from some heretofore unmentioned group or organization, but I can't predict stuff that I don't know about, so I'm going to have to decide if either of them are former bracers, or formerly Ouroboros, or military intelligence police, or something like that, or former Jaegers, or the church, like the Gralstritter, or the DG cult. So they seem to have a some of the other things we've seen, right? When she's getting the kids to decide to join Class 7 or not, she turns to Fie, and Fie goes, I don't care, whatever. And she says something like, no, she mentions Fie's attendance, there's some stipulation, some deal going on. We don't know the details of it, but she says something like, "You need to take control of your own life." And she's like, "All right, fine, I'm in." So they definitely have a history. And I was thinking, all right, let's see what could have possibly been, right? Could Sara be like a former bracer, right? I don't think so. Simply because both she and Fie seem really depressed. They seem not just depressed, but ashamed of their past. They're handling it in different ways. Sara is leaving Las Vegasing herself. She's drinking herself stupid. And Fie is just very detached and apathetic and withdrawn, not uncaring. I mean, it is notable that she got to the end of the underground labyrinth by herself, went, "Yeah, I guess I should go back and make sure they're not dead," and runs back and goes, "Okay, yeah, you're alive. You made it halfway through. It's the same monsters from here on out. You're fine. I'm not going to hang out with you, but, you got this. You're good." And then she pieces out. Where was I going? Oh, I also want to point out that while Brian's probably sitting there, fingers over the keyboard, going, "Andrew, just make the goddamn prediction. How long is this going to be?" I get great enjoyment inviting you all along on my journey to how I arrived at my dumbass predictions. So come with me, won't you? Fie and Sara. Sarah's drinking herself stupid. Fie is just sleeping all the time and unengaged and somewhat apathetic and standoffish. And that could be shame over bad actions in the past, like if she was like an Ouroboros enforcer or something like that. Or it could also be trauma. It could be she was like one of the victims of the DG cult. Maybe Sara saved her. which would, I already said she's probably not a bracer, but she might be, police or military intelligence or something like that. So that would make sense. If she was Fie was getting experimented on, that would explain her insane speed and reaction time. Maybe that's a result of that, like what we saw with Tio. Although she doesn't have, she has just higher perception. But who knows what superpowers any of the kids who survived would have made. But I don't think I'm not going to go with a former victim of the DG cult, mainly because that doesn't that seems less likely to, the combat ability seems less likely to be the result. Although you do have Ren, who learned, combat, and she's very fast, but she's also significantly older. Like, all of the victims we know were around the same age, like 11 or so. Well, younger than that when they were rescued, but, Tio and Ren are somewhat the same age. Fie, I think, is probably 5 years older, which doesn't mean there weren't older victims, but she does seem, from what we know, to be out of that profile, so probably not. And if Sara is a bracer or military or police or something like that, or even like a Grolsritter, it seems less likely that she would be drinking herself stupid out of possible shame over past deeds. I can't think of any bracers so far in the series that are like ashamed of being bracers. Can't think of any. Like, Richard was former intelligence, but he's ashamed not for being intelligent, or being in intelligence, but for what he did and being controlled. And I don't know anyone who's left the church all disillusioned. Like, Weissman left the church, but he left to follow his own ambitions, not because he was ashamed of anything he was doing at the church. So, I don't think Bracer. That doesn't seem to make much sense to me. Let's see. DG Cult, I don't think so. Grolsritter, or the church, that doesn't seem right to me either. So, and same thing with like the military or intelligence division or the police or any of that. That's not working for me either. So we're narrowing it down here to Ouroboros and former Jaeger Corps members. And we've got some interesting possibilities here. So, what about Ouroboros? This would be a real interesting thing if, like, Sara was a former enforcer, or maybe even a former Ennui, and she has, like, some type of inside track to the Grandmaster's plan, and she left, and we're using that knowledge as a way to defend Erebonia from whatever the hell Ouroboros is doing. That's an interesting angle. I just don't think that's the case for two main reasons. Number one, if that were the case, I think Ouroboros would target her ass for execution. She'd have enforcers after her ass all day, every day. That seems to be something like that they wouldn't tolerate. Also, when she's doing the our aptitude test, she brings out this combat dummy, which is this combat robot thing, and that. What is she? She says something like, "This is something I got roped into working with a while back. Rather not use it, but it's useful." That thing doesn't seem like Ouroboros tech, right? That's not an archaism. So that seems a lot more likely to be something that might be used for training in a Jaeger Corps. So for those two reasons, I'm thinking Sara's a former Jaeger. That would explain her combat prowess, and it would also explain her nickname of Purple Lightning, which doesn't mean she's a Jaeger. After all, we know a lot of Jaegers. Randy was the Red Reaper, Shirley was Bloody Shirley, Sigmund was the Scarlet Ogre, Randy's dad, Bartholomew, Bufus, something. It started with a B. Baldur's Gate, but something. He was the War God. Garcia was the Killing Bear. Right? So the Jaegers seem to really like those, and especially the Red Constellation with their color stuff, except for, I guess, Bloody Shirley, but blood is red, and that counts. There you go. But Ouroboros loves the nicknames, too. Campanella's the Fool, Louis' Blade Lord, Luciola's Bewitching Bell, Joshua's Black Fang, who am I missing? Ren was the Angel of Slaughter, Weissman is the Faceless, Arianrod's Steel Maiden, pretty sure I'm right, Steel Maiden. I think Novartis is the only one who doesn't have a nickname, at least that I've heard of. So, with a nickname, she could conceivably be a former Enforcer or a Jaeger. But as I mentioned, that combat drone doesn't seem very Ouroboros, and if she was former Ouroboros and they're working contrary to the Grand Master, she'd have assassins on her ass every day of the week. So I'm going to say Jaeger for Sarah. With a caveat, because we're going to have to circle back around to this, because this is kind of weird. What about Fie, right? I thought that, I'm thinking, all right, so since they know each other, were they both in Ouroboros, or were they both in the same Jaeger Corps? Well, here's where it gets tricky. Sarah's whole thing about telling Fie that, you need to make your own decisions here. Pardon me. That Ouroboros, from what I've seen, seems to have a pretty laid-back workplace attitude. Like, all the Enforcers, weird as they are, Blue Blanc, Phantom Thief B, another one. Who am I missing? Walter, was it Dire Wolf? Something Wolf. I think it was Dire Wolf. I think so. Louis was the Blade Lord. Where was it going with this? Shoot. I lost my train of thought. Uh-oh. I lost my train of thought. Right. So she says something about Fie, you need to take control of your own life. All of the Enforcers in Ennui, as long as they're not getting in the way of the Grandmaster's plans, as long as they're facilitating, advancing them and not impeding them, they can do whatever the hell they want. That doesn't sound like Fie's background, if we're trying to convince her to actually do stuff now. All of the Enforcers in Ennui seem to be pretty go-getter kind of people. None of them seem to be like, whatever, I don't feel like doing anything, right? So that doesn't feel right. So I was thinking, okay, so Fie's a Jaeger too. So they're both Jaegers, and they got horrified with what they were doing, and they escaped together. Huzzah. That would explain both of their combat prowess and their Fie's super agility. We've seen that shit with Randy and Shirley being trained really young and being incredibly, battlefield proficient and having super speed and super strength and all that kind of stuff. Don't know if she has a nickname. It's something they could conceivably both be. Ashamed of. One problem, though, with my theory here. Fie said that she didn't recognize that combat dummy. And that kind of throws a wrench in my theory. So, did I go wrong somewhere? I don't know. There's more than one Jaeger Corps, so it's possible they're just from different Jaeger Corps. And the one Sara was in used the combat dummy, the one Fie was in didn't, so she'd never seen it before. How the hell they crossed paths? No idea. I mean, maybe, maybe their two respective corps clashed at one point, or who the hell knows. But that is what I'm going to. That's there. So my prediction is Sara and Fie are both former Jaegers, but different Jaeger corps. And to make it more fun, one of them is going to be from the Zephyr Corps. Why? Because Garcia is lonely. I think he's the only one we know from... There's only, I think, like 3 Jaeger Corps that I'm aware of at this point. There's the Jesters, which I don't know are even active now. Red Constellation, and Zephyr. And the Orlando Brood, or we know from the Red Constellation. But the only one we know from Zephyr is the Killing Bear. And he's lonely, and he needs a friend. Maybe that's why he's so grouchy. He was, like, I doubt they're related. That would be a bit much. But maybe he was like an adoptive father to Fie or something like that, right? And she got all disillusioned, and Sara took her away from him. It's something, right? Actually, the other person from Zephyr we know is the leader of Zephyr who killed Randy's dad. Did we ever get a name? Randy's dad was Bufus the War God, and he fought to the death with the Zephyr commander dude, whose name is Dude. I don't think we. Yeah, I don't think we have a name. So, yeah, maybe there's a purple constellation Jaeger Corps for the purple lightning. So that's my prediction. 3-part prediction. Both are 4, 6. I don't know how you want to parcel it out. Fie and Sara are former Jaeger Corps, different Jaeger Corps, and one of them was in Zephyr because it seems to be one of the important Jaeger Corps, and we barely know anybody from it. So there you go. There are my dumb and very wrong predictions. So we'll see how that shakes out over the next year or... Yeah, I would imagine that Fie and Sara's backgrounds will be at least that less opaque by the end of Cold Steel 1. So, alright. Now, friends and neighbors, let us speak about the San Diego Comic-Con, which is happening right now, right over there. I'm pointing pretty much in that direction. It's south of me. It's over there. I'm not going because there's a lot of people there, and I can learn about all the fun stuff from the comfort of my own home. In fact, let me refresh and see if anything new or interesting has happened in the last half an hour. The Fantastic Four has a subtitle, First Steps. Okay. Robert Downey Jr. is going to play Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Okay. I'm just reading headlines, so I haven't read any of the write-ups yet, but... Giancarlo Esposito is playing... Everyone was thinking he was going to be George Washington Bridge, but no, he's playing Sidewinder, who is a Serpent Society character, if I'm remembering right, in Captain America: Brave New World. Galactus is going to be around. Cool. All right. So that's what's happened in the last half an hour. So what else has happened this week is there is a Ryuga Gotoku / Yakuza / Like a Dragon television series. Well, mini-series, I guess. It's 6 episodes coming out in the fall. And I've not seen they made a movie. Was it Takashi Miike who did the movie? I don't know. I didn't see it. So, television show, they showed a very brief teaser, which was mostly shots of Kiryu's tattooed back. We didn't really get any action scenes or dialogue scenes or weird side quest scenes. So, not even only enough to get kind of a vibe, right? And it's got a fine vibe. There was a 5-minute interview with the gentleman whose name I forget, who's supervising the games, and it was pretty fluffy. He's like, "Oh, I think it's going to be great." I'm like, I'm glad you think so. So, but I'm excited for. Well, one thing he did mention is that this is not the Kiryu from the games. It's an adaptation of the game. So don't expect a literal one-to-one translation. As long as you're okay with that, I think you'll have a blast with the show. It's really good. I like it. So, sounds good to me. Next, we saw a trailer for... Well, I'm just skipping to all the stuff that personally interested me and ignoring the stuff that didn't. There was a trailer for the new Creature Commandos show, which is animated. It's, I think, the first new DCU project since James Gunn took over the DCU. So this will be in continuity with the forthcoming, like, the Superman movie and whatever the hell else they're doing. And it's only a 90-second trailer, but Amanda Waller really likes this Task Force X thing, but apparently a law was passed where you can't use humans to conscript them into committing war crimes and stuff. And she goes, "Oh, well, these aren't human, they're monsters, so haha." I'm like, okay. And we've got a Weasel is there, and Bride of Frankenstein, and looks like the fish from what's the Lady Screws a Fish movie? What is it called? Shape of Water. And the fish is apparently Princess someone. I don't know if she's from Atlantis or something. No idea. Then Mr. Phosphorus and GI Robot or something. Looks fun. Looks like it could be cute and a lot of fun. Speaking of what's fun cartoon thing, they made a Kite Man spin-off of the Harley Quinn show, which is just a genuinely phenomenally good show, the Harley Quinn show. Kite Man, it's alright. It's fun enough. It's not at the level of Harley Quinn, but it's, entertaining enough. It has nothing to do with the SDCC, though. But yeah, Creature Commandos, looking forward to that. There was a trailer for the new full-price DLC for Mortal Kombat 1, which looks fine. They've got a new story, and they've got some new characters. They've got lady versions of Cyrax and Sector. I thought they were just different robots, but I guess they're just alt-world versions of Cyrax and Sector, because they have the same name, so who else? Oh, Noob Saibot is back, and then they've got some guest characters, and now we've got because in the previous wave we had Homelander and what's the dad's name from Omni-Man. Forget who else. But now we've got Ghostface from the Scream series. And it sounds like, I forget the gentleman's name, but the guy who does the phone changer voice for Ghostface sounds like the same guy. So that's interesting. That's fun. It's Warner Brothers. Who else do we own? Ghostface? Got a knife? Sure. Stabby, stabby. Plus Conan the Barbarian, which is kind of funny because Arnold Schwarzenegger's likeness has already been used as the Terminator as a guest character. Who else was there? There was Ghostface, Conan, and Robert Patrick's T-1000 from Terminator 2. So, yeah, sure. I mean, Killer Instinct already ripped off that character with, what was it, Glacius? So, you know what? Sure. So unfortunately, it was one of those, these characters are coming, we didn't get a look at, like, their movesets, but they are adding, for every single character, it looks like, animalities. So, one of them is a puffer fish that swims, I'm going to guess, right up the urethra, and then pops them from the inside, which is fun. Let's see, what's her name? Melina. Katana's sister, Melina. She turns into a praying mantis and grabs the person and just noms their face, which is pretty cool. So that looks neat. Looking forward to watching all the fatalities on YouTube. Got a trailer for Season 2 of Lord of the Rings, Return of the Power of the Rings of Power, I think is what the subtitle was. I should probably write all this stuff down, you know. I've got a whole notepad thing here, but I'm pretty sure that's Tom Bombadil, because he looks exactly like the various paintings people have done of Tom Bombadil over the last 70 years. I enjoyed Rings of Power Season 1. I thought some things worked far better than others, but overall I was entertained, and I think it's a solid basis for continuing the show. And it looks like, at least from the marketing, that they seem to be approaching this from okay, we're just less of the, oh, who is this? Oh, secrets. Oh, what is going on? It's like, no, this is this is this, this is this, and they're butting heads, and we're stabbing and shooting arrows and stuff, right? And it's like, oh, who is Sauron? Who is Gandalf? Who is this? And who is that? And who is real? It's like, okay, we know where all the pieces are. All the pieces are named. They're on the board. Now we get to fight. So, might work better from that standpoint. But my favorite, honestly, my favorites from the first season were Elrond and what was the dwarf's name? It's Frank. No, I forget his name. David or something. His dwarf friend. I thought that relationship really sang, and his interactions with his wife and his dad. I thought all that stuff was like the strongest stuff in there. Looks like Galadriel has learned her lesson and is committed to making completely different bad decisions. So, that woman clearly has a history of screwing up. Oh man! But you know, if your character isn't flawed, they've got nowhere to go on their arc. So, so I'm looking forward to it. I hope it'll be fun. There was a second trailer for Transformers 1, which I saw the first trailer and I thought it was a trailer for a new show. No, it's a movie. Which is cool, because I don't think we've had a Transformers animated movie since Transformers the movie back in like 86, 87, somewhere in there. This one is, as you might be able to divine from the title, is about is origin. So back when Optimus Prime and Megatron were bestest buddies in Cybertron's school, and they painted the town red and got into trouble and hung out with their friends RC and Bumblebee or something, and then they learned how to transform and exposed corruption and had to choose sides, and now they're sworn enemies. It could be cute. I don't know. There's some stuff I like. There's some stuff that's not working as well for me, but, you know, I'll watch it. I won't watch anything Transformers. I do have standards. I saw the first two Transformers. I saw the first Transformers movie. Was Michael Bay? I think it was Michael Bay. The Michael Bay one back in whenever the hell that came out, like 2007 or 8 or something. And I thought it was okay. You know, it didn't like anger me or anything, but I kind of thought the same thing when I saw Resident Evil back in the early 2000s. I was like, it's okay. It's nothing that raises my hackles or gets my undies in a bunch or anything. It's not how I would have done it. Honestly, I probably would have made a worse film, so there's that. But I saw the sequel because I got it on DVD for Christmas. It took me like I forget exactly how long it took. My memory is like it took me 2 months to actually watch the film all the way through. Couldn't have possibly been that. Maybe it was just one night. It just felt like it. Transformers 2 is Transformers 1 is just it's okay. It's not good, but it's fine. Transformers 2 is so terrible. I haven't watched any of the others, but I did see Bumblebee, and I thought Bumblebee was great. And then they started doing the marketing for the Beast Wars one, and it looked friggin' terrible. So I didn't see that one yet. Maybe I'll watch it, but it just looks awful. Which makes me sad, because I like Transformers. And I like it when Transformers is not bad. Of course, I don't know. Maybe Transformers, the movie 3, 4, and 5 are great. I doubt it, but we shall not judge books by covers and such. And then finally, Tales of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is a 2D animated spin-off of the recent Mutant Mayhem movie, which is an interesting choice. Sounds like the same cast to my ear. Watched the trailer, or actually it wasn't a trailer, it was just like a 3 or so minute clip of the show. Looks like it could be cute. Humor's fun. I enjoyed the movie, so maybe the show is fun. I don't know. I doubt I'll watch it, but I'll definitely watch if they make another movie. So yeah. And that is everything that's happened at San Diego Comic Con so far. But let me refresh the page. Oh, Anime Momo, hello. You're welcome. You're ready for the next charity live stream. Well, you better unclench because it's a couple months yet. Let me refresh the page here and see if there's anything else worth noting. The Russos are returning for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Okay. Robert Downey Jr. is playing Victor Von Doom, which is very interesting. Okay. I'm excited for Doom. I really love the version of Doom who is... Doom is almost... He's like the smartest dude and has the best tech, and he absolutely is a dictator, but he's like the most progressive dictator ever. Like, everyone, was it Latveria? Latveria, in some tellings, he's been told a million different ways, but like, Latveria is an authoritarian state or country, but it is a paradise or utopia. There's no hunger, there's no poverty, there's no crime. Everyone is safe and happy and fed and healthcare and housing and all that stuff, but you don't break the rules. It's still an authoritarian state ruled by, the fascist dictator in an iron mask. But life's pretty good there. That dichotomy is actually, Doom's whole thing is like, I should rule the world because I'd be great at it. Everyone would be happy, no one would be harmed. And the tough pill to swallow is he's probably right. I love that version of Doom. He can be such a really interesting character. He's also really funny in his interactions with various characters, because he's one of those villains who has his own specific code, and he has a lot of respect for a lot of the Marvel Universe heroes. Like, he's rarely ever out to specifically pick a fight. Again, it depends on which version of the character we're talking here. But he's perfectly happy to, sit down and have dinner with, Captain America. Just don't mess with my stuff, and, we're perfectly fine. You know? And he also refers to himself in the third person most of the time, which is... He is so arrogant and so annoying in that way, but the dude backs it up. Such a fun character. I'm really interested to see what the films do with this character. Let's see. We already talked about Giancarlo Esposito being a Sidewinder. I first came aware of Giancarlo Esposito when he, I think, what was it, the first season of Mandalorian? I think it was the first time I'd seen that character. I'm aware that was like a big presence on, I think, Breaking Bad, but I never watched that show, so... very cool actor. I'm like, well, there's a guy who has a shit ton of charisma. I bet he's going places. IMDb. Oh. Yep. So, looks like we got some footage of Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four as a subtitle. Okay. Looks fun. Whoop, the hearts are leaking again. Unclench, Momo! Unclench! It's like we get to the extra life. It's like, I clenched the entire time and now I have buns of steel. Suzanne Summers will be so proud. Wait, was it Suzanne Summers who did Buns of Steel, or did she do the Thigh Master, or both? Anyone my age who remembers infomercials from like the late 80s? Alright. I think that's all I've got for today. I gotta go to the store and try and, through sheer force of will, buy groceries without buying, junk food, because I'm glad I don't drink or do drugs, because I tell you, if I get like a bag of, or a box of cookies, I'm eating all the cookies in the box. If I get a bag of chips, I'm eating all the chips in the bag. If I get a bag of pita chips and a thing of hummus, I'm eating all of it. It's not eat a serving and put the rest and save it for later. If I'm going to make seafood, I can't buy garlic bread because it only comes in a humongous loaf, and I'll eat the entire damn thing. So I'm glad I don't drink or do drugs, because I'd probably drink all the drink and do all the drugs. Which is why I rarely treat myself to candy or junk food, because I'll eat all of it. I'm not, I can't buy a quart of ice, what is it, gallon? I have to buy pints, because I will eat as much ice cream as I buy. That's as much ice cream as I'll eat. Thankfully, I'm not the biggest fan of ice cream, so that's not like a big draw for me. But, yeah. Alright, that's it for tonight. Thank you all for hanging out. Hope you're having a great week. Something I need to talk about, I think, next week, because it's not... Next week or the week after, because it's not officially official. It's one of those... It's a work thing. It's like an official... It's official, but it's not officially official, so I can't talk about it. Oh, hey, remember, like, 6-7 months ago, where I got recognized for good behavior, like, outstanding performance. I got nominated for the STAR certificate, which was literally a certificate that I could print out and, like, laminate and magnet to my fridge, which I probably should, because it's really funny. But what it is it's just a recognition of, outstanding work, right? I wasn't the only one who got that, by the way. But it comes with a bonus, and it was $1,500. And I thought, yeah, I'm not going to see $1,500. I know the federal and state government are going to probably take a good third of that. I'll probably see about 1,000 or a little less. No, the government took about 2/3 of it. I think I ended up with $718. Which is $718 I didn't have in the first place. So I'm not turning my nose up at that, but it's pretty funny. Oh man, Actually, that... Oh, that's more than half. 750 would have been half. It was like 716, 718, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. So, that was kind of annoying, but I still got $700 bonus, so pretty happy with that. I hope you all are getting nice things as well. And so we will continue on our Trails of Cold Steel adventure tomorrow. Let's see. Chaos says, I got recognized for good work by being given more work. Yeah. It's like, hey, you're good at that work stuff. Here's some more. It's like, great. You're paying me more to do more work, right? No. No, but you're good at it. You like work. It's like, I like where I work. I like the people I work with remotely. But I'll be honest. If it weren't for the paycheck, I wouldn't do the work. Shh. All right, that's it out of me. Thanks for hanging out. Join me tomorrow for some Trails of Cold Steel, won't you? All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.